Welcome to a new series of mine. I'm very sorry that I haven't been around to put on videos lately. But the small automated big motion AI videos are there for your viewing pleasure. Okay. But I do hope that maybe you can also view some of my original videos as well. And some of which I am going to post English lessons in the future. I'll inform you when on Patreon, and not just English lessons, but also how to write like I do. Okay, I'm not a very good writer. I'm just a myth maker. And one of the myths I've created is this book called the Book of Masdaq. It is actually a holy scripture for the Chaku religion that doesn't exist in this world, but it exists in that world. This book. Now, if you want to buy the book, you can always let me know. It's not even published yet. It will be published soon enough, but one of the ways to get it, I suppose, is through myself before it gets published, yeah? All right, so I'm going to read the introduction today. And after the introduction, I'm going to read chapter 1 in the Zaytunian epoch. All right. Recently, I did what is called the Marietza, which is a reading of this book in another form. That is, it's an interesting way of reading it for those who want to gain more insight in this book. It's made out of 40 sentences, okay, 40 verses, sorry, and 40 chapters. So you can play around with it as you like, and sometimes it may bring out something mystical when you do. It was written in the course of 2 to 3 years. Now I'm going to read it to you. This book is suited to those who have lost their soul. Are you afraid of yourself? Are you afraid of the truth? How have you hurt others? How have you not lived up to the expectations of what the world wants from you? Are you real? Being a Masdaq is being you, whatever that may mean. Most people assign themselves by various labels, be they religions, political leanings, and other attributes of mammon or material culture. Yet it is important to know that we are, as human beings, are none of these labels we put on ourselves. Read about how myself, Johan Kasim, a man who had no idea who he was and is, still trying to find himself in a world that he feels wants to define who he is, traverses the caverns of imagination in an alternative universe, the Autherens, to figure the reality of his life, as well as teach the non-verbal intuitions and notions of a life lived falsely through the story of Zutenberg, a seer of the Autherens. Much care has to be taken not to confuse universes when reading this book. It is a tale from another dimension, with leanings that are useful enough to create psychic awareness and changes along the way, yet if taken literally could cause problems on all aspects of life. Due care must be noted herein. Take the medicine for yourself, but do not poison others with it, including the author. The Book of Masdaq. There are many reasons to have this book. In Chakuism, we believe that reading it is a sacred process. It forms the mainstay of our religion. This book helps you learn how to become a powerful person, which is a very vital part of being a Chaku. After living a life of experiences, one has to make sense of it in order to live in its wisdom. Thus, we read this book to learn how to become a powerful leader. The origins of Masdaq, M-A-S-D-A-Q. Kalsha is a country in the Autherens. Masdaq comes from the Kalshan word Masdaq. It refers to a person who can apply power into their lives in the wisest of fashions. In Kalsha, a Masdaq was a title for its kings. Masdaqs wore amethyst in their turban-like crowns, which represented their reliance on intuition to replace the mind. When Zutenberg met the Masdaq of Kalsha, he was very impressed that he was not just a king, but an example of human behavior in all avenues. He was the manifestation of justice and peace in the way he thought, spoke, and lived. The people of Kalsha were blessed because of him, not the other way around as expected by most leaders. In the Chaku language to which Zutenberg belonged, Masdaq was pronounced as Masdaq. After seeing how the king behaved, Zutenberg wondered if the gifts of kingship enjoyed by the king of Kalsha could be shared with the people who traveled with him. These migrants who had joined him in his great journey from Basaga were made out of a lot of broken people. And it was said by Rumi, that great Persian seer, the wounds are where the light enters the soul. He believed that everyone broken should resort to kingship so as to heal from their brokenness. Although he wanted to keep a diary of his personal journey and calling, he felt it best that his followers become the leaders they were meant to be. The purpose of Masdaqhood. Masdaqhood is a calling to attain absolute power for life. It is to become a king in one's own judgment. So if anyone wants to know how to attain absolute power for life, this book is for them. There are only 3 teachings that they need to attain. Number 1, the journey is non-returnable. If you want power, to believe you don't have it, which was the belief held before now, will bring you back to not having power. So it is important to know that this process cannot be undone once begun. Number 2, the process is ever-changing. Masdaqs evolve from year to year. With each new experience comes a newer plane of existence. This evolution will be blasphemous to what came before. So expect shock, defiance, rebellions, and confrontation in its wake. 3, there is no mind. Masdaqhood becomes true when the mind no longer works as king. The true sovereign is one who has access to mind, but the mind is subject to its power. For this to happen, God is necessary to replace the mind and evolve us to our dignity. To reach these 3 teachings, the reader has 2 options. One is to decide on the discipline of actual Masdaqhood and become Chaku. That's not possible in this universe, yeah? The other is to read it as a spectator of Chakuism. Both of these paths are recognized as dignified and worthy paths of pursuit. It is never in the interest of Chakuism to ever force our religion on others. Enough wars of religion, even in our own tradition, has taught us the futility of fundamentalism in religion. In fact, in this tradition, our disciples were forced to die due to being extremists. So we will never expect the non-believer to take up the road of Masdaqhood as a Chaku believer, but they may enjoy the fruits of this book in another way. The non-Chaku, that is all of us, can read its stories, enjoy its tales, reflect on its values, and apply what they can to their life. Like the Masdaq, they will use their own experiences to change themselves through the teachings of this book. There will be no need for Menzabit, which is the penultimate expression of the Chaku faith. But for the Chaku faith, for the Menzabit signifies an official recognition of this evolution, which in the context of our faith helps us to manifest the values learnt herein into something more concrete. That is where the only difference lies between a Chaku and non-Chaku individual. Lastly, I would like to wish you well and thank you for taking time to read this book, whether in a Zapatanic temple or during Menzabit. Upon climbing towards Felonia, sovereignty, or towards personal power, I wish you the best. Masdaq Johan Kasim, author of the book. Now, obviously, this is all fictitious. It comes from my own made-up world, but in it lies a lot of allegory and a lot of representation of certain things which I cannot say out loud or in a direct context in the world that I live in. But anyway, here is how the book is structured. We'll take a look. We have with us the Zaytunian epoch, the truth of Zutenberg's diasema. which is basically 14 chapters, and the Nazonian epoch, the Truth of Johannes Menzabit, which is 15 chapters to 40th chapter. Okay, and I will start reading the various chapters in times to come. I hope that you can support my efforts here. In the end, you might all just get this for free. And, well, let's discuss in the comments what you'd like me to do with this. What can we do with it? Because it is a very interesting gift, and maybe even a doorway into my epic works, because the universe to which this comes from is now being written as a novel, and has already been written as a novel, and is going to various agents to get help. And if you are an agent out there, literary agent, no one has actually confirmed that with me yet. So if you are, or you know someone who are in literary agencies, I would be happy to send you my manuscript, and we can work on the beginnings of that universe. This prophet comes from that universe, this seer comes from that universe, and this religion comes from that universe. So there's a lot of material, a lot of fictional stuff to work on, and a lot of things to do with that. And I'd like to devote my channel to the workings of that, as well as the teaching of creative writing, and also maybe teaching some of the philosophical elements of this book, as well as also telling you that I have English classes available. So thank you for listening.